you're pretty much saying what you're trying to say is you don't like how people are trying to say screw the Black Lives Matter. Okay, got you. I understand it.
Yeah, like I'm like I think that and saying all lives matter is not a problem when you say it. I just feel like some people say it like as a rebuttal. You know what I'm saying? Like when somebody's saying, "Oh, Black Lives Matter," and then another person's like, "No, it's all lives matter." Well, it's like it's kind of funny when people say that. It's like because they're some like most of the time those are the same people that support the movement Blue Lives Matter, and it's like, okay, so you're for Blue Lives Matter, but you're not for Black Lives Matter. So the operative word in that statement must be the Black in Black Lives Matter. You see what I'm saying?
I understand.
And, I like that's just the only problem that I have with it. I feel like all lives, of course, does matter when Black Lives matter.
Yeah,
when Black Lives matter, then you can make that a full statement. But I can understand the opposition initially to say that no, all lives don't matter, but Black Lives matter. I can understand the opposition.
So yeah, I get the general gist of what you're saying. I mean, it's what you're trying like at the end though, when you meant like when Black Lives matter, are you trying to say that in this country right now that Black lives appear not to matter?
Yeah, and seemingly almost every way, like and not just when it involves the police, but just in a whole lot of aspects.
Other
like
than
other than the police. Oh, you're fine. Other than like the whole the policing situation, but just the economic situation, the education situation, just and the mass incarceration situation, just and a whole lot of aspects. It seems that Black lives don't matter, and that's really where the whole movement came from. A lot of people think that it's just for the whole policing situation because that's the part
it's
they
misinterpreted.
Show on TV. Yeah, they don't show the part where, you know what I'm saying, they go down to schools and they try to make stuff better. Like they don't show those parts. They just show the parts where they're marching and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? They don't. That's why I can't really be upset at people when they have a misconstrued opinion about it. When they, you know what I'm saying, when the media doesn't represent.
Because it's not as simple as it sounds. It's not Black lives. It's not just simply Black Lives Matter. It's Black like economics matter and all these other things. Like I understand what you're saying. It's more of a social thing though. What's it called? But so like I'm not gonna lie. I completely. I understand that there's instances where police officers abuse their power. Especially, I'm pretty sure you've seen the Alton Sterling video. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Yeah, that kind of left a really sour taste in my mouth. And honestly, one thing I don't like about the whole Black Lives Matter movement is I don't believe in the idea of killing cops. I believe that does not help anything at all, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Because like, I mean, in all honesty, I mean, if you're gonna bitch and moan, I'm not just saying. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I have complained about police authority. But I'm talking about like if you're one of those people that's going out. If you're one of those people going out killing cops and stuff, when you need them, don't call them. That's all I gotta say.
I totally agree, and I think that is 100% heinous. I feel like
taking any life in any way is hideous, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
I think that if somebody and the leaders of the Black Lives Movement said this in the I forget what city it was. I want to say it was Los Angeles. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But they said basically we've seen the videos where people were using the Black Lives Matter slogan and then saying, I know you saw this video. They were saying pigs in a blanket, farm like bacon.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
They were, and like the leader of the one of the leaders, the DeRay McKinnison, I think his name is. He's just one of the leaders of Black Lives Matter, and he said basically if anybody is perpetuating hate speech or doing anything like that, you're totally making the point invalid. Like,
it's not about being violent. It's about getting our opinion out there. Yeah,
Because he made a statement. He was like, some people are gonna already want to think that we're violent. That what we're trying to do is perpetuate violence when that's not what we're trying to do at all. So if you give them a reason to say that we're trying to perpetuate violence, you're taking the message off of what off of what we're supposed to be
definitely
focusing
I understand
on.
What you're saying.
So, and I really that's just horrible, especially like the cop shooting in Dallas and stuff. That's horrible because it doesn't help anybody. It makes the police more fearful, if anything, to you know what I'm saying, serving the communities, and it makes us more fearful of them because when they're scared, we're scared. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't help nobody.
But you were talking about how like you feel as if there's no racial equality for I don't like saying the word black. I'm just gonna say African American if that's cool with you. Yeah, I don't when you said like I want you to expand like when you talked about how you don't believe there's racial equality for African Americans in terms of economics and education system and stuff like that.
Right. And I want to tell you that it's totally okay to say black. Like, it's totally,
yeah, I know.
It's really
I know.
okay.
I don't know. It's just awkward to me.
Only because it's like the term, I don't use the term African American because I'm not African American. My ancestors came from the Caribbean. And so it's like calling, you know what I'm saying? It's like a blanket statement for everybody.
I understand.
But to your point, it's just when you actually live in the community, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm not gonna lie. Where I'm from, there's like we don't really got nothing like going on in terms of like police activity or anything. Because like where I'm from, we're like pretty chill and mellow. We don't really got.
Yeah.
I'd say from where I am, at least, I'm not gonna lie, I got black friends, I got Asian friends, you name it, I got them. I mean, like I feel as if like for our lifestyle, well, I think it depends based on the location. That's what I'm trying to say here is like, because like where I am, that's why I'm curious because I want to know what you feel about it because I feel as if where I'm from and where I'm living, I'm not experiencing what you're experiencing. You know what I mean?
Right. And I mean, when I was younger, I used to live in a neighborhood that wasn't the best. But it's not just that. When you take a step back and you really just look at just literally everything, like the school systems, how the schools are set up. You know what I'm saying? Before I moved out of that neighborhood, it was just it wasn't good at all. It you know what I'm saying? Like the quality of the books, the quality of the computers, if there were any, just things like that. There's the disparities between the neighborhoods, and I think that, I mean, and it goes into a lot of aspects, just like the mass incarceration. It's really, really disheartening when you see, you know what I'm saying, a person of color get a sentence that is just ridiculous, and then a white counterpart does the same thing and they don't get the same result. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I forget the statistic, but I think that it said that African Americans were just more likely to get sentenced harsher for the same crimes. And it just goes into every aspect. Like, for example, I know that you've heard about somebody said that, you know what I'm saying, if we wonder why, okay, they'll give us a loan for to go to school, they'll give us a loan for your car, they'll give us a loan for all that other stuff, but if you go down to the bank as an African American and ask for a loan for a small business, they're going to tell you no. That is fact, yeah. Straight up. And it's like they give other people opportunities because other people have a presumption of innocence and other people have a presumption of guilt. And that's why and of course the police situation, but that's why I say in a lot of aspects it's issues dealing with race.
Yeah, I everything you said, I mean, in all honesty, that was just straight up fact. So I mean, like, it's more of a, well, this dude in the comments saying, finally some decent BLM debates. Tired of just seeing trash talking. I feel like, in all honesty, you and I feel like we're not even debating. I feel like we're learning. Like, I feel like me personally, I feel like it's more as if because I'm not gonna lie, I don't know. Like I said, where I'm from, I'm not really familiar with all this activity and all that. So I mean, I feel like it's more as if I'm curious to say, hey, listen, let me put myself in one of their shoes and understand how do you deal with the situation, things like that, and the whole bringing up the whole African Americans or blacks, or whatever you want to call them, getting sentenced more heavily. I mean, our justice system in America, it's no secret. This shit is so messed up. In all honesty, I mean, I'm not a big fan of our justice system. I mean, you see, it's just I don't like it. It's the whole jury system. How you can have how it has to, like, you got one person. Like, let's say you and I are in a jury. We got 12 of us, right? You and I, you're 11 of you, the other 11 are like, yeah, for sure, guilty. And I'm like, hell no, he's not guilty. He's innocent. He's not guilty. And I just don't like, I don't know. It's just like things like that. And people, you see people forced, other jurors are like, no, dude, hurry up. We're tired of being here. Hurry up and just say he's guilty. You send innocent people to prison. For example, if it's a murder case, you're sending that man, he's not seeing his family for the rest of his life. He's locked up. He might even be sentenced to death. I mean, things like that. It's just little things. I mean, I completely understand what you're trying to say, because bank loans, I mean, car loans, you name it, financial aid, it's no joke. People aren't just saying that it's based off race just to say it's based off race. There's actually statistics and there's, real life examples of people like that. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I feel as if America, we don't really live by our Constitution. The preamble, for God's sake, we the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice. All men are created equal. I don't buy it. Let's be real here. I mean, if all men were created equal, you and I can go to a bank and we can get the same loan, no questions asked. I shouldn't be told yes, you shouldn't be told no, and vice versa. I shouldn't be no, you shouldn't be told yes, based off skin color and stuff like that. It's just our generation in America. I really like this generation. I know a lot of people don't like the generation. I like how, like, as younger people, because I'm going to assume that you are roughly around, like, I'd say at the oldest, you're probably like in your early 20s, I'd say. At the oldest.
I'm 18.
18. Okay, well, I'm 17. Perfect.
Yeah.
I feel as if our generation, you and I really like how, like, a lot of older people, like, don't like our generation, but as younger people, I like how we're not afraid to go out there and say what we feel. Because in all honesty, we're the future of this country. So it's important that regardless, we could have stupid ass opinions. You could be for freaking, I don't know what the hell. I could be for something completely different. But at the end of the day, as long as we're getting our voices out there, and at the end of the day, we're the future of this country. The future president is our age, somewhere in America right now, probably just chilling. And I mean, like, in all honesty, I don't like how, this is a completely different topic, but I don't like how people are like scared, like my age, like they turn 18. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm eligible to vote this election. I have a lot of friends of mine that don't really feel the need in it because they feel that their vote doesn't matter. But in all honesty,
doesn't matter, right?
Everybody in this country has a voice, and everybody has a say of what can go down in this country. It might not always go, like, you might vote Democratic, or Republican might win, or vice versa. You might vote yes on a proposition, and it ends up being no. Things like that. I feel like people are just too afraid of, I don't want to go out there and voice my opinion because it doesn't matter. There's 300 and something million of us in this country, okay? And out of those 300 and something million, we'll assume, I don't know what percentage can vote. But in all honesty, your vote does matter.
Yeah.
I don't care how small one number may seem to you. Out of the 360 million, your voice does matter, because at the end of the day, you have a say. It doesn't even matter if your person you vote for wins or not. You had a say in what goes down in this country. So I feel as if, you know, you and me personally, I get the vibe off of you that you're not afraid to go out and state. You're not afraid. Obviously, we're on here talking, so none of us are afraid to go out there and state our opinions, and that's good though, because our generation needs more of those people, and it's sad to see that like younger people don't feel the need in voting. You know what I mean?
I totally agree, and I think that that's the beauty of the generation. Everybody says that, you know, we're all wrapped up in technology or whatever, but I feel like that is just really the beauty of millennials. That's a big misconception. Because exactly, it's the beauty of it, because we're really. I mean, just take in point. My mom told me the way that you just go up to people, and you know what I'm saying, when I go to rallies and I talk, the way that you have constructive conversations with people today, I would have never been able to do that when I was young in college. You know what I'm saying? You didn't talk about those things. It was considered rude to talk about.
You do rallies?
It was considered rude. Yeah, I go to some rallies in North Carolina. You know what I'm saying?
That's cool.
Just to educate people about the misconceptions on a lot of things. And like I said, it's so okay for people to say what they truly feel. Like, it is fine. And a lot of people just get wrapped up in being PC and stuff like that. No, we're never gonna have a conversation if it's not constructive. Like this one lady told me, okay, I was walking down the street and I was like jingling my keys to get into my car, and this black guy was walking on the same side of the street, and I got really, really scared, and I dropped my keys and was like trying to go under my car to get the keys, and I was so scared, my hands were shaking and stuff like that, and he just walked past me and looked at me like I was crazy, and I felt so racist for that. But I said, it's okay. It's really okay, because I took myself in that position. I was like, shit, I would be scared too. You know what I'm saying? It's something that we all suffer for. But I think the conversation is the most important part. And that's what I love about, you know what I'm saying, our generation, is that we're at least starting the conversation, because it used to just be horrible to even talk about it. It used to be considered rude. Like, you can't talk about politics. You know what I'm saying? Like, and say your opinion, and you know what I'm saying? You know, challenge somebody else's opinion, that would be considered rude. So I'm glad that we, you know what I'm saying, starting to have.
It's like a lot of people our age are afraid to go out and voice their opinions because they're afraid of, like, oh, what are they going to think if I support Hillary Clinton? What are they going to think if I support Donald Trump? It's like, dude, it doesn't matter.
Right.
At the end of the day, like, let's say, like, if you, like, in my opinion, if you have your friends, and like, if you tell them how you feel and you about to lose them over some stupid stuff like that, then they ain't real. I mean, like, in all honesty, I don't give a damn if my friend supports anything or is against anything. At the end of the day, we're not. I mean, let's be real here. The likelihood of me being a politician is probably slim to none, because I'm not interested in pursuing a career in politics. But at the end of the day, opinions don't faze me. Like,
right.
And like, when I read it's Black Lives Matter, not all lives matter, I'm not arguing with you. I mean, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, you name it, they all matter. It's like, I like hearing what people have to say about it, because it's really hard for me to find someone my age or around my age group that is willing to have a constructive conversation about all this, because A, not a lot of people feel comfortable talking about it. B, people don't give a shit about it. and 3, people are just scared of what people are going to say about their opinions. So that's why I'm hella happy I found this app, dude. I love having constructive conversations about things like this.
Me too. And also to your point, I'm a social justice major, so I just sit and talk about opinions all day.
So you do this every day then, huh? Shoot.
Yeah, I do this every day around the college, and I just you have to separate the opinions from the person. And I've talked to a lot of people who had a lot of opinions that I really just did not agree with. But after we were done talking about it, you know what I'm saying? We talked about other things. And a lot of times what happened is you take somebody's opinion, you hear their opinion, and you make judgments about them. And you think, okay, he supports Donald Trump, therefore he's racist, and da-da-da-da. But no, you can't, because people are complex. People aren't just their opinions. People aren't just what they think. It's more than that. That might be their opinion, but you know what I'm saying? There's still a person underneath. So that's just been a journey for me, you know what I'm saying, exploring this major to find out that a lot of people might not like this, but some of the people who go to Trump rallies are actually cool. Their opinions might be,
of course,
kind of messed up. They might not think a lot of good things about me as a person, but they're not bad people. They're just people with opinions.
Yeah, like
aren't the same as yours.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna use me as an example. Me and my mom are supporters of Hillary Clinton, and my dad's a supporter of Donald Trump. Okay. But the thing about my dad, so I mean, me and my parents don't really like to argue politics, because at the end of the day, it's not going to go anywhere. So like, and I asked my dad, I'm like, hey, you understand what he's doing? Like, the things he's saying, the things he's doing, very controversial. But my dad at the end of the day is like, listen, I don't care. My dad's not going to go out and wave a Trump flag, for God's sake. That's right. But my dad's like, I understand that he is racist. And, I'm not a racist individual. But at the end of the day, my dad just supports his policies. And at the end of the day, my dad is completely against the deportation of Muslims and all that type of things. And I just like, it's not like you said, like, my dad's a Donald Trump supporter. He's not a fucking racist. He's not all this. You know what I mean? My dad just sees a better future with him. And at the end of the day, I don't give a damn if you support Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. You go out there and support them, because it's your voice that matters. You can make a difference in getting whoever you want in office. And Yeah,
I agree. It goes deeper beyond somebody's opinions, or you know what I'm saying? It goes deeper. Like, somebody's opinions is just not. I mean, I'm sure that doesn't change how you look at your dad.
Absolutely not.
Your
dad,
you know
that's
what
my
I'm
dad right there.
Yeah, exactly. So to the point, I mean, people are deeper than that. I think though that once we start getting like really real, like really honest about race in America, we will really get to a place where it's okay to talk about it, because a lot of people,
it's a really touchy subject.
It's a touchy subject, right? A lot of people, I find that they try to put it in words that they think might not offend me, but we already know. You know
just keep it real.
A lot of people just keep it real. Like, we already know, and I had to keep it real too. And like, and the real is, sometimes I'm afraid to be who I am, because I don't want anybody to judge and say, "Oh, she's that way because she's Black." I know for a fact that she's that way.
That's a damn shame that we have labels like that on everybody. In all honesty, I hate to say it, but I really don't think that racism is something that we can just grow out of and that racism will end, because for the rest of our lives, I'll walk down a street. They might assume, if I'm wearing like a trucker hat, oh, he's a racist person. Or if they see you walking down the street, oh, she's this, she's that. But people are always going to have assumptions. And like, I'm not going to lie. I feel as if racism with our younger generation, like our grandparents or whatever, they lived in a really crappy time in America. But I feel like for our generation personally, like if I sit next to a guy with a turban, or I sit next to a Mexican, I don't give a damn what your beliefs are. I don't care who you are. As long as you're a real and genuine person, that's all I care about. We can put So I feel like our generation is starting to realize that, because our generation also accepts, lesbians, bisexuals, things like that. I feel like our generation is starting to accept, hey, listen, don't give a damn who you are, what you do. We are all people. Let's unite, because at the end of the day, we are one species. We are one nation. So I feel it's gotten better. I'm not gonna lie, but like, obviously, if you notice, it's not teenagers our age going out and saying things like this. It's the older. I'm not trying to say they're old, but it's the older generation than us that's going out killing cops. It's an older generation that is getting killed by cops, things like this. So I feel as if, 20, 25 years from now, when we're both adults, we're both in our 30s or whatever, I feel as if I think there still will be racism. There'll still be profiling. There'll be things like that, but it'll be nowhere near on the level that it currently is, because racism is
and I hope
still
so. I really hope so, because I feel like we're gonna learn from this. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
It's always a new situation. Like back in the 60s, people could just outright just say whatever they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But I feel like now it's different, to where it's still there. It has gotten a lot better. It's still there. It's just, if you deny it and say that it isn't racism, then in turn, oh well, it's not racism, when in fact it just might be that. I think that in our society today, we're teaching a lot about color blindness, and I spoke at one of the events about color blindness and how it could be detrimental. Not to say that, you know what I'm saying, you shouldn't treat everybody equally, or you shouldn't do this or that, but when you become colorblind, it's kind of like taken away from the issue. And understand what I mean by that. Like when, like, let's say somebody told me a while ago, they said, Lana, I don't think of you as black. You're just a person to me. You know what I mean?
I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Well, no, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I see what you mean when the person said that. I see what you mean as if it's detrimental, because because at the end of the day, like, regardless if you're white, Mexican, Asian, whatever, there's still like, you shouldn't just say, "Oh, you're not Asian, you're a person." There's still that. Respect them for what they are, but don't just go out and say, "Oh," because like there's culture behind everybody. So don't just be like, "Oh, you're not Portuguese, you're just a person." Like, dude, don't say that. Say it, but don't say it straight up like that. Like, I understand what that person is trying to tell you, but at the same time, they kind of worded it in a pretty bad way.
And it's like, I did at that time, I just kind of like accepted it for what it was. I didn't want to just like say, well, you shouldn't say that. You should, because they were trying to be nice about it. I get what they were saying, and I had to, and I spoke at the thing. And I was like, well, if you tell people that, it's kind of like saying, it's kind of like if somebody were to say, oh, I don't see you as a man, I just see you as a human. Like, no, you want to be seen as a man.
Yeah, exactly.
Being a man is important to you. So I think that once we get to a place where it's okay to talk about race, like a lot of my like white friends don't even want to talk about it because they're so afraid of offending me. And I think that it's like a dangerous place to be in, because you can't be so afraid to offend somebody. I'm sure some of my views offend somebody, but
vice versa, everybody offends everybody. Let's be real.
Exactly. It's being honest.
I'm blessed to have a black friend of mine. His name is Samuel. He's I'm not trying to say that I have other black friends that are not educated, but he is the most educated. If you want to be real, he's the most educated person I know. He's so chill. He's so down to earth. He's into politics and all this. So I've sat down and I've had this discussion with him, and it's pretty much been the same way I've had it with you. We both understand why people do what we do. We both understand that, it's copy and paste. This conversation, me and him had that same conversation.
Yeah.
And it's just a blessing, because to be able to sit down with a friend of mine who is of an opposite race in such a matter like this, and be able to to understand our points of views, because he has points of views that are different than me. I have points of views that are different than him. We agree on some things, we disagree. It's human nature. So I mean, I feel as if, I don't know, I'm just really happy that like there's people out there like our age or our generation that actually give a damn about the issues at hand and understand that we are the future of this nation.
Exactly. I want to ask you, how do you look at the race situation in America now? Because I know I told you how I look at it, as it affects us in every area, but how do you look at it from your standpoint?
What do you mean in terms of like economics and police brutality and stuff like that?
Yeah, from being I'm assuming that you're white.
That's a very fair assumption. Yeah.
Okay. Really? Okay. But just from being a white person and looking at it from the inside, how do you view the situation that's going on with people of color in America?
All right.
I'm sorry, that's my cat purring, by the way.
That's all good. I got my phone charged right here. Give me like 2 seconds. Gotta plug it in.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. We're charging. So I'm not gonna lie. There's things that you go through that I don't have to experience, and there's things that I go through that you never have to experience. And my whole opinion on this is, I understand where Black people are coming from with Black Lives Matter. There's been many cases in which police brutality has gone way too far. Alton Sterling. This one, I forgot the name of the other one, when they were in the car or something and the wife was recording.
Philandro.
Oh, yeah, things like that. Obviously, I don't think it matters if you're white or black. You should understand that there was some wrongdoing there. In terms of, I feel like as if like me personally, like how I feel about like economics and social standpoints and education. I feel as if, in all honesty, there are instances in which people are, you know, denied access or something like that because they're African American or Black. And then I feel as if there's some instances where people assume that they were not granted these certain rights and privileges because they were Black. I honestly can't relate because I am obviously, look at my arm. I'm not Black. So you know what? On all honesty, I feel as if I'm not in a position to agree or disagree with it because I don't have to go through it. But I am gonna agree in the sense of there's people that are not granted access for something because they're Black. There's people that assume that they are not granted because we've all heard it. Oh, it's because I'm Black. Oh, it's because I'm this. It's like,
right,
wow, like if you're not getting if you're not getting a loan, it's probably because your credit score is weak. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
But there is instances. There is instances. I agree with you 110%. You know,
I agree with what you're saying because I mean, and that's kind of like what I know it's President Obama. He said basically, like, I know a lot of people try to say that, oh, you're playing the race card when people say that, oh, it's because it was because I'm Black. I didn't get this because I was Black. And I think that that's accurate. I think that people do that a lot. But when I think when people do that, they honestly feel like that is such because of the experiences that they've been through. I totally agree with you. I think that in a lot of situations, Black people are just cynical, overly cynical of situations. Like, for example, I'll use myself as an example. I was in school and one of my professors was describing me to somebody, and I overheard her, and she was like, "Oh yeah, da, 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 she's very articulate, da, da, da." And I was like, "But I'm the I'm the editor of the whole column in our school, so it's like, why wouldn't I be articulate? You know what I'm saying?" But then I was like, "No, don't think like that. She didn't mean it like that." But I had to stop myself from assuming that she was saying that because I was Black, and it's hard when you have to think that way, and that's just my plight as just a Black American, is trying not to think. I mean, just being honest here, trying not to think the worst when something happens involving a white person and trying to say, oh, well, it's because I'm Black. I don't like to think that about people. And it's hard when, I'm going to be honest, that's my first assumption when something like that happens. Is
you're completely fair to assume that. There's nothing wrong with that.
But I can't do that though, because I don't want to just get into this whole situation of victim.
Yeah, you don't want to yell at your teacher and be like, oh, it's because I'm Black. You said that. Obviously, that wouldn't be the smartest thing to do, but it's completely,
that would be horrible.
Don't let anybody tell you different that it's not okay to feel that way, because there are instances where it's sad nowadays in America, because I can honestly see why you think that. Like, you always have to think, oh, it's because I'm Black, because honestly, tons of situations, not just police brutality, minorities, African Americans, they're treated like crap, in all honesty, in this country. So it's a completely fair assumption for you to say, oh, it's because I'm Black, oh, it's because I'm this, oh, it's because I'm that. Because at the end of the day, that's just how it is. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I've never been in a situation where I can, because I'm white, because I'm this, in all honesty, but I definitely understand where you're coming from based off of this, because I have had friends tell me stories similar to this and things like that. And I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I see what you're saying. It's hard to come from a place of maybe that isn't it. And I think that just a lot of stuff that people don't see about the Black Lives Matter movement is the way that they're trying to advance just the community as a whole. Because when you look at the communities and when you look at the schools and things like that, I mean, they're really trying to do positive change, because that will create the most positive change for the whole movement. Like, if the community is better, then you won't have that much crime. If you don't have that much crime, then you won't have that many police. If you don't have that many police, then you get less killings. So I think that a part of it is the responsibility of us, because a lot of people do point to Black on Black crime, which is a factor, but I don't think it's the reason that's a lot of the stuff happens. But I think that if we took a little bit more ownership of the fact that our communities do need more help because of the things that have happened, and because of the, you know what I'm saying, the school system. If the school isn't doing right by the student is going to feel like they need to drop out. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
If there's no jobs around the area, they're going to be like, okay, instead of looking for another month to see if I can find a job and I have my rent due this month, I'm going to go and I'm going to sell some drugs. And like, it's just the whole mentality around living in the quote unquote ghetto and the quote unquote hood that turns a person into something completely different. I think though that the Black Lives Matter movement needs to do more than just protest. I mean, and a lot of people, especially my Black counterparts, they say, well, why are you? They act like you're not supposed to criticize Black Lives Matter at all. And I feel like that is completely false, because I don't think that marching is doing anything. It's not doing anything. Like, people hear us. They heard us the first time. They heard us the second time. They're like, it's not gonna do anything. I think that what we need is, if we want real change, like in, cities like Monroeville in Alabama, where something completely just horrible happened between a police officer and a woman, and it was horrible, and all they did was march, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like,
freedom of speech.
Exactly. It's like, it's not gonna do anything. Like, they hear you, but they're not listening. Somebody said that what we needed was an economic boycott, but I don't even know that that's gonna work either, because Black people aren't as united as they try to seem like they are, especially when we're at the rallies. Like, it's harder. Black people aren't monolithic like people think. Like, it's hard to get all Black people on board for anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
really don't even know how to fix it.
I feel as if, like, I'm not saying this about all Black people, but I feel as if most of the people in the Black Lives Matter movement are not educated. I'm not well educated in terms of what's really stemming down with the issues. It's not all about police killings.
No, I agree.
Yeah, it's like,
I agree.
Once we all open our eyes to the problem of racism, and we're all willing to work as a unit, which won't happen for a long time, in my opinion. If it even does happen, I don't think we'll live to see it. But I mean, once, as a country, everyone's willing to take a stand and take ownership as to, hey, listen, we understand what's going on. This is terrible. Once we're willing to talk, we're never going to be able to sit all 300-something million people down in this country and have a constructive conversation. But at the end of the day, if our powers of this country can sit down and, like, I don't really think there's any laws or something that you can make about it, but just be able to identify and own up, listen, it's just like.
Well, somebody said that what people can do is go to the World Court and say that some people feel, I might be one of them, that Black people deserve reparations and for everything that happened. A lot of people think that what Black America should do is go to the World Court and say that there is a type of genocide on African Americans. And understand what I mean by genocide. It's not just
it's not like not a Holocaust. Definitions. I understand.
Yeah, not like that. But it's just in general, the quality of life to a certain group of people. And I think that let's face it, and this was so crazy to me, the U.S. apologized for the Holocaust, something that happened
70 years
in another country, in another country by another system, but they said nothing about American slavery, which does play
and nothing
a part.
About everyone forgets during that time frame that we had freaking Japanese citizens in concentration camps in America. So I mean, it's just
the internment camps, right? Yeah, and a lot of people don't even realize.
Let's throw that under the cellar, though. No one wants to read about that in history books. America has so many flaws. America has so many flaws. And it's sad that as a country, like, we're not owning up to our mistakes. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to use the word immature, but that's pretty much how it is. I mean, we have people in office that they don't want to, like, honestly, if I was president of the United States in the time of World War II, I'm going to come out and say, listen, we messed up. We shouldn't have fought fire with fire, but you know what? This is behind us. As a nation, we will get through this, and let's continue to live our day as normal people. And I feel as if we need something like that in America. I'm not saying it has to come from President Obama or future President Trump.
Definitely not. Oh gosh, no. I think Obama will be the last person who needs to do.
Someone needs to come out and say, listen, we understand, we hear you, we understand what you're frustrated. And then I think they should I'm not trying to say that they should bash law enforcement. They come out and say, listen, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, okay? We understand that there are instances where police officers have abused their power. And as a country, it is important that we do not fight fire with fire as we've done in the past. Let's thank your police officers, because at the end of the day, they don't know if they're coming home, things like that. And I mean, it's simple. I mean, you're not going to end the problem, but just come out and say a simple statement like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A simple statement like that will go. It will
go a long way with some people. Yeah.
And I really think that if we were met in the middle, you know what I'm saying? Like, if police officers would come just a little bit out of the shell and say, well, you know what I'm saying, some of these instances were wrong and some of these instances were justified. But we hear your frustration. The most frustrating thing about it is when I went to one of the events and the police officer, and we were talking about the police officers, and the police officers were there, You know what I'm saying? We were just talking about like the police officers in general in the community, and they didn't say anything. And we asked them, you know what I'm saying? People were passing out refreshments and asking them if they wanted to get up and say something, because in reality, we were talking about them, you know what I'm saying? And how we feel about it. I think that if they came, you know what I'm saying? Not even, I know that they have some restrictions on what they can say because they're on the job, but I feel like if they came not even halfway, but just gave us a little bit more than the silence, I feel like that would go a long way. Also, to what you said about the violence situation, I was so sad when I heard about the Dallas situation, but I'm gonna be totally honest, I was not surprised. Like, I was so frustrated.
Like, I didn't go to the news. I didn't like act in shock. I'm like, damn, that's
like it's like after the 2 shootings that you heard about, it was like, to be honest, when the whole thing with Tamir Rice, the little boy that got shot, when he died, I was like, okay, somebody's gonna try to retaliate. I was surprised when it didn't happen then.
We've been waiting on retaliation for years, and I mean, it was only a matter of time. So I'm not trying to justify it. I'm not trying to justify it and say it's about time, but it really was about time. Like, it was gonna happen, and it's just really sad that it happened under the circumstances that it did, because
like, to be completely honest, like, I don't agree with that. I get your point. I don't agree at all, but I'm not surprised.
No.
Like, it's
so sad that we're not surprised. That's the sad thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, I don't agree, but I get it. Like, it's only so many times that you can watch those videos. It's only so many times that you can watch those videos. And as a Black person, it really breaks your heart to watch those, especially the little boy that got killed, just to watch those videos and continuously. And then people try to say, well, it isn't necessarily a race thing, when you know in your heart that all of your experiences have pointed to racial situations. But I don't agree. I feel like that just, it made the Black Lives Matter movement just look bad.
Yeah.
I mean, because that wasn't our target at all.
It's the Black Lives Matter movement. I feel like it's a really big misconception. Everyone thinks about, the Fergusons, the protests like that. But in my town, this is like a week after the Alton Sterling incident. My town's a pretty small town. We got like 84,000 people. They had a Black Lives Matter, gathering. So I'm like, what the hell? I'm going to go drive by this thing and see what's up. And the beauty of it is, it's not just Black people that understand what's going on. I honestly saw a handful of Black people. The rest were every other race you can think of. It was really awesome to see, people are willing to unite together and listen. Hey, this is not, I'm not, people think, oh, I'm not Black, I don't got to worry about it. No, you got to worry about it. It was really happy. I was really happy to see so many people of so many different ethnicities banding together and realizing that this is a problem we face in the country. And it was just really like, it kind of made my day. I'm like, wow, cool, awesome.
Yeah, and it's a really beautiful thing to see. Like, when I was speaking at the event, it was not just Black people. It was a lot of white people and Asian people and Hispanic people there to want to know what they should do to help. And what I told them was, you're at an institution, you're at a college. What you can do to help, if that's what you want to do, you can go to the inner city where, you know what I'm saying, where you rather might not be because it's the bad part of town. Go to the inner city, go to one of the schools there, and pick out a student that doesn't look like you, that doesn't worship the same way as you, that's a different religion, that, you know what I'm saying, somebody who's different than you, and teach them about how to be a productive human being. Be a mentor to that person. Don't give them gifts. Don't make yourself feel good about any of that. Don't do none of that. Just teach them what
the gift you're giving them is just like the gift of a better, like, you don't have to, it's not materialistic things that matter. It's not materialistic things.
Exactly. And what you'll get from it is maybe you'll learn to have a little bit of empathy from somebody who doesn't look like you. And you're also giving this student, this child an opportunity to be a more productive citizen. So that's just what I told them, what they can do if they want to help. Also, I mean, people can use their white privilege for the better, you know what I'm saying? Like we had discussed earlier, a lot of people sometimes don't believe Black people when they, talk about a race situation. But when a white person talks about it, sometimes it has a little bit more push. Sometimes it has a little bit more. I'm not gonna
lie, I agree with you. I know a lot of white people don't like saying this, and it's kind of a touchy subject even for me to talk about, but I am a firm believer that white exist.
Yeah.
If you don't think it is, then you need to sit down and watch CNN for one day, my friend, because
I mean, I was talking to people who didn't believe that white privilege didn't exist because they said, well, I grew up poor just like everybody. Well, it's like, that's not just the only thing. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to say that white privilege isn't a big deal, but it's not as broad as people think. Like, it's not like, oh, I can vote, you can't. Thank God.
Yeah, it's subtle. Yeah,
it's subtle, but it's still a huge problem in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's little things, but those things add up so much.
Yeah, it's really, really subtle. Like, just for example, like I tried to tell someone, I'm like, you don't know that you have white privilege because you're literally just swimming in it.
Yeah.
Like, you're just swimming in it. Like a fish doesn't know they're in water.
I'm not trying to say that white lives are a lot better than, in terms of aspects of African Americans are, but I feel as if, like, unfortunately, it kind of is. You know what I mean? Like, I feel as if the reason why people don't realize that white privilege is a thing is because they just live life how I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to be racist at all with this statement. What I'm saying is I feel as if, like, we don't see that it's a big deal because we live life how everyone else should be able to live life. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's not, and that's where I feel like the resentment comes from towards people of color. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's not right, because, like, white people didn't choose to be white. You can't be mad at anybody for being white and having a privilege that you don't have. I think that what is the right thing, though, is for people to acknowledge the privilege that they do have. Just for example, like, at event parties with people who work on the same committee as me, I'm not gonna get up and dance and play the music that I want to play, because I don't want to be a representation of my whole race. I don't have to. Sure. I don't want to speak for my whole race. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I feel every time I say something about Black people. It's like I'm speaking for everybody, and it's like, it is true when I walk into a room and it's only white people. I'm very conscious of the fact that I'm Black. Like,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Extremely conscious. Yeah, and it's I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? I would like to be a little bit more what's the word, like a little bit
included,
less on edge. Yeah, like a little bit less just on edge when I'm around white people, so I don't have to, okay, I don't want to say this wrong or do this wrong so that they think, oh, it's because she's Black. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I wonder just what it feels like to be white and to not have to think about that, to just be who I am and know that if I do make a mistake, people aren't going to say, oh, well, it's because she's white. Like, nobody would say that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, honestly, like, that's like, that kind of hit hard. Like, when you say, like, I wonder what it's like to be white. That is so sad that we have people in our country wondering, I wonder what it's like to be white. I'm gonna be real with you. I can't relate to anything that you're going through. In terms of, social life, walking into a room and not feeling as if you're included. It's sad to say that I can't relate to you in terms of those things like that, but I completely understand what you're trying to say. I mean, like, it's like, I feel as if it's just like, it makes me, I'm not trying to say that I believe in white privilege. Like, I'm not saying, yeah, white privilege is awesome. Hell yeah. Things like that.
But it is, though.
I realize, like, damn, there's so many things that I don't realize I can do and not feel a certain way towards, like, if I walk into a room of people, I'm like, hey, they're like, oh yeah, what's up, Andrew? It's not like oh shoot, she's like, the only Black person in the room. It's like little things that I didn't realize I take for, you're opening my eyes a lot more to the world in terms of social life and in terms of racial equality and things like that. And I'm really happy about this discussion because, honestly, I'm not going to say, like, oh, I'm a changed person after I had this conversation, this, that, but it's opened my eyes a lot more because, I mean,
yeah,
that's why, I mean, when I accepted the debate, I'm not trying to say, oh, police are like, police this, police are better than Black lives don't matter. I was honestly, like, hoping that this conversation would stem more in terms of Black Lives Matter. I'm glad that it's everybody. I'm glad that it's in terms of, like, a racial discussion in terms of every single race, because, I mean, and I'm glad that, like, there's people like you and I around our age group, and they're not afraid to voice their opinions, because I'm not saying you and I are going to be the future politicians, but our generation, let's be real here. We got people out there that are going to be politicians that aren't paying attention to politics right now. We need people. I'm not trying to say everybody should be included, because, politics, that's not everyone's cup of tea. But at the end of the day, our generation, it's just, I don't want to say we're screwed, but I feel as if we don't got more people like this voicing their opinions about things like that, then we are screwed.
I think that's the beautiful thing about it. You know what I'm saying? That it's okay. Like, I try to, and I try to, like, look for areas where somebody and I who's having this conversation might disagree, because it's always a learning experience. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's how I'd
good
say this topic, this discussion is.
Yeah, it's good to learn. Like, it's good to learn about, it's not just about how I feel. It's just, what I'm saying? Black people have to realize that we're not the only people who are involved in this whole situation, even though it's on the, downward end of the situation. We have to understand how other people feel about the situation, because at the end of the day, it's not just about us. It's about other people too. And we're not just involved in the system. So I'm really, really glad that we had this conversation because I want to learn more about how it is from the other side and what people feel from the other side. You know,
it feels so awkward when you put it that way.
No, but I'm like,
that's fact though. You're not lying. I mean, like.
No, but from somebody who doesn't have the same experience as me is what you know what I'm saying. Like,
and I'm glad I learned from you. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from your perspective. So it's just like, I'm not trying to say that I don't understand what's going on, because I vaguely do. But to hear some of the stuff you told me, and you know what your friends, family, and all that have to go through, I feel like it's gonna stick with me, because the next time I see people, the next time I see people bashing on each other, because it feels as if it's like they don't. It's not that they don't understand what they're going through; it's that they don't care to understand. So it's like, like some of the stuff you said is going to stick with me, because like, you know what, next time I see a Black Lives Matter protest, or I see like a white person criticize someone based off race, it's like, listen, you're blinded by, all these other things in life. You're blinded by, you don't realize that you really do have a privilege. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to lie, I didn't realize I didn't have a privilege. I'm just living life. And that's the sad thing, is that's what the privilege is just living life.
But it's okay. It's really okay, because I mean, it's not like forced upon you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really okay. Like, a lot of people feel, you know what I'm saying? I feel bad that I didn't see this before. That's what the lady told me when I was at the event. She was like, how could I not see this before?
That's how I feel right now.
But it's really okay, because you're not, I mean, the way, it's just the truth. The way that life is designed for people who look a certain way is said that you don't have to think about your race. You know what I'm saying? Just growing up and being a Black female, I think about my race a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Because with perfect reason. With perfect reason.
You're just forced to. You're forced to have that luxury, but don't feel bad about it, because it is what it is. The way that things are. Exactly. It's the way that things are right now. All you can do really is just, you know what I'm saying, realize it, and there you are. Because it's not, don't feel bad about it though, because I mean, it's some privileges that Black people have that white people, you know what I'm saying, don't have. They're slim to few, but I mean, it goes both ways. So I think that it's good to just say, okay, now I know, and that's all I can do is say now I know.
Yeah.
That
pretty much sums everything up, and like
sums it up for
sure. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that was a deep ass conversation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we had
for sure. It's not every day you find someone like yourself or like myself who's willing to you learn more about what I believe and what I have to go through. Well, I'm not gonna say that I have to go through much, because sadly I'm just chilling. Thank you. This dude in the comments said, kudos to y'all for actually debating and not just yelling at each other.
Yeah.
I feel like we're not even really debating. I feel like we're just like understanding. I understand what your position, people have to go through, and yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, I've seen some sad Black Lives Matter protests on here. It's just like yelling and barking. It's like, let's take time.
Oh my God, did you see the girl who was like, all the white people get to the back of the march? I was like, yo, if I was there, I would have been so upset. I get what she was saying, but damn, like, that just makes everybody look bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think I'm gonna get going.
Yeah, me too.
It was awesome getting to talk to you about. A lot of times people just argue their point.
You too.
They just start to try to. Yeah, this dude in the comments preaching pretty much everything we've been saying. Awesome. It was awesome to get to talk to you. I mean, I learned so much.
I appreciate your point of view.
Cool. Hopefully in the future we have a conversation like this again, or hopefully in the future I see you on like my timeline and I get to watch.
Hopefully about a lighter subject though.
Oh yeah.
All right, you take care.
You too. Thank you. Have a good one.